Hey, mixed emotions.
What's going on, y'all? We back again.
So I made a post on our Facebook page kind of saying what this impromptu video is about.
Impromptu.
But we had another incident with our racist neighbors again.
They're back at it, y'all.
It got a little warm outside. I think they've been laying low because it's been too cold to be messing with people. But it got a little warmer and their kids started playing outside again, and
voila!
Here we are.
We niggas again.
So last night we were just sitting around watching TV, relaxing.
I was getting ready to go to work.
He was. And our 5-year-old ran into our room and was like, "Mom, there's people in our front yard and they're yelling and they hit the window." And I was like, "Really?" Like, because we have security cameras, so I don't have it set up where it just like dings really loud every time someone's in my yard because I'm not that paranoid. But so he said that, and I looked at the camera footage and realized it was more serious than I thought.
Right.
So,
mind you, these are like 7, 8, 9-year-old kids.
Right. So that is the other issue we're running into is these children are being taught these things, these words and these actions. And it's hard to go after a kid. Like, we don't want to go after kids because we know who's teaching the kids those things. Yeah. So that's been another barrier or roadblock in this whole situation because it's all like stuff the kids are doing and saying, right?
My dilemma really is to get a message to the child and also get a message to the parent.
Like, hey, this is wrong.
Look, I'm not going to bother your children are children.
Right.
I you know what? Maybe I'm being too soft on them, but they're still kids, and they can't know that much better if they're like 9 and 10 years old.
Well, and like one of the little boys that was involved is their child, but he also like comes over and tries to like get our 5-year-old to come outside and play
hang out with him. Yeah.
So I don't really think he knows. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
Or they could be trying to set our kid up to beat him up.
Which they've done that before. Like, we've walked out there and they've been arrested 3 kids on our 5-year-old, but luckily our 5-year-old's way big for his age.
Pretty strong, yeah.
So, yeah. Our phones are blowing up right now, guys. So I'm gonna let him say what happened because there's words in there that I should not use. Basically,
the 3 little boys ran up on our front yard. In our front yard, we have what we call rock gardens because I'm very lazy and I don't want to plant flowers every year. So I made a garden section, 2 of them, and put nothing but rocks in there.
Right.
Pebbles and big plated stones.
Rocks, yeah.
And what they did was come up to the rock garden, play around a little bit, act like they wasn't doing anything, and they start picking up. One of the little boys started picking up rocks, and then the other one was like, "Go ahead," and he turned around and said, "Fuck you, nigger," and threw it and hit my glass. And he's lucky he didn't break anything
because our windows aren't super
and they're not really thick. Like I'm not sure how he didn't break anything, but when he threw
he hit the screen.
When he threw it, he yelled the word nigger and ran off, all 3 of them.
Well, they didn't run off until our 5-year-old came to the window and they're like, "Oh, like they can see us," you know?
Right, the window was open, the blinds were open.
Yeah, so our son walked up to the window like, "Who's that?" You know? And they were like, "Oh no," and ran away, cussing as they went. And these are like little kids too, so like.
Oh, don't get me wrong, little kids, they still bad. They still need ass whoopings, but they ain't gonna get no ass whoopings from the parents because their parents are the ones teaching them. I cuss, so I don't shame the parents for cussing.
No,
I cuss all the time.
But I mean, we also try to teach our kids like those words aren't to be used outside of this house.
Nobody's perfect in that aspect, but you don't have to hate people.
No,
you don't have to call people
niggas.
niggas.
Be using racial slurs.
You don't have to do that part.
And
that part you don't have to do.
We've also made other videos about these same neighbors, and this same little boy has said, you know, black people should still be slaves, white and black people shouldn't be together.
We're a travesty.
Calling the other black child on our block the N-word. This is the first time they've actually like used it to our faces.
Yeah, to our faces, yeah. For some reason, I don't know why they can't see the camera on the house pointing right directly at them.
Because they're little kids. Like, they don't realize, you know what I mean? So, luckily, we caught that on camera. Like, and also, luckily, our 5-year-old didn't hear that word. So, we called the cops after we heard that. Actually, I think he was like, call them anyway before we even heard that.
Yeah, because the reason why I say call them anyway, I'm not big on the police, but when the police tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. When they say document everything, I'm going to document everything.
Right. So he was like, call the cops. And then like I was watching the video and I was like, oh my gosh, you know?
Right.
So then we called the cops. The officer came over. He talked to us for about an hour. And then he went over there and talked to them. And luckily I had sent him this video, so it's not like they could deny they normally do.
Right.
They normally say, oh, my kid's not saying that. You're calling my kid a racist. And everything just gets dropped, you know?
Yeah. They just cause it a version. Say, do you have proof? Well, my kid didn't do anything. So
right.
blah, 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 blah.
So this time we had proof. Which if you're going through a situation like this, unfortunately, we have found out that you do need hard proof of it happening. It can't just be like, well, we have it documented that they said this, you know?
Can I, before we go there, I noticed something last night, and I forgot to say this to you. So this is new between both of us.
Yay.
But I do notice, because I got mad at the police officer last night when I was on the phone with him. I said, if I was messing with them, I'd be already locked up. If with proof or not, I'd be in handcuffs in the jail here in Norman without a trial, all because they said I did something to them. Now, if I said if they did something to us, we got to prove it, and we got to catch them on camera. We got to go 2 or 3 years of documentation.
Yeah.
It's two different Americas that we live in, and I said that to the officer yesterday. I said,
that's when he came over.
I said, it's bullshit, man, because they've been messing with us since we moved in, trying to get us to move out, right?
Yeah.
So now that they messing with our property, it's like, did you get them on camera? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna take your deal over the phone. Wait a minute, you're gonna take my a statement over the phone? You're not even gonna come out and talk to them? So you're just gonna listen to what I'm saying and write it?
That was the initial, and then he came over like, oh, I can't just do that.
I'm like, look.
Yeah.
With these police officers, you have to speak up for yourself.
You do.
You have to, or they'll just run you over and be like, I'm not really doing
and the
about
other thing was, I was in the background, obviously, while he's on the phone. And I was like, is this not a hate crime? Like, they yelled the N-word and they threw rocks at our house. Like, is that not a hate crime? And the officer, like, admittedly was like, I don't know. Like, I have to look that up because we usually don't file hate crimes, you know? And that in and of itself is a problem.
That's
because
weird. Yeah, like what?
You as the person it's happening to have to mention that term.
Right. For the police officer to bring it up.
So that's we're kind of doing this to educate people that are in the same or similar situations as us, because we've been going through this this is our fourth year in this house. So we've been going through it for this amount of time, and other people have been going through it way longer than us.
Right.
So it's like, these are the things.
And those other people feel like nothing can be done because nothing's ever done to these people. Right.
Like, okay, y'all, the people that are on our channel have been following us and this situation for a while, and I'm sure y'all noticed that it came to a standstill over the summer. You know, like, we were trying to get a mediated meeting between us, the other family it was happening to, and them, and they refused, and they're still refusing. So, but what I'm saying is that's when it came to a standstill, and then the cops at that point weren't on our side, it seemed like, because we didn't have evidence, and of course they're going to deny it.
They're just going to take their word.
Yeah, so...
But I was going to say just a second ago, if a black person calls a police officer to a nice neighborhood,
Yes, we do live in a nice neighborhood in the suburbs.
the police sneak up. They don't have no lights on, nothing.
True.
They park 2 or 3 houses down, so nobody sees them or even recognizes them being in the neighborhood.
I did notice that.
Yeah. When they pull up in nicer neighborhoods, they pretend like they are not there.
Okay, I want to mention this though. But the last time that they called the cops on us, 3 or 4 cops are rushing into the neighborhood with sirens on.
With lights and everything.
So it's like it was a totally different situation from when my husband called the cops this time to when he called the cops last time. And I don't know what she said last time. She could have been like, there's a big black man in my yard trying to fight us. You know, like, I don't know what she said. You know?
I was actually in the street. And
Right.
I was down to get down, but...
But, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what she said to the cops to make them react that way versus what we said to the cops, you know?
It just seems like they try to keep it a little bit quieter and not trying to disturb the neighbors whenever they...
They don't want a scene. Which,
Like, are you serious? I want the scene.
Yeah.
People in this neighborhood need to know what's going on, and you can't keep burying your head.
Right.
And the people that are not trying to go against these people are also a problem.
Right. And I mean, this was something we mentioned in our last video in the We Are Norman group. Like, if you're sitting there and you're being silent or you're trying to silence the voices of people that are actually being oppressed, like, you are also a problem. Like, it's fake peace. And there's no justice in that.
Oh, it's peace for the white folks, but it's not peace for the black folks.
It's fake though. It's not real.
We gotta live in torment.
It's what I'm saying though is it's a fake peace. Like, that problem is still there. They're just ignoring it. It's not actually gone. It's still a problem, so it's fake.
You know how they say, God speaks in mysterious ways, right? God works in mysterious ways. Now, about 7 or 8 years ago, the first time I ever came in this neighborhood, we got a ticket on our car just for parking in the street.
Yeah, my cousin lives in this neighborhood, and we got a ticket for parking in front of her house. But her neighbors, unbeknownst to us, were also that way at that time. So
there's a lot more people like that in this neighborhood than we think.
Fun fact. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was years ago.
And in this whole city, like, not just our neighborhood. Like, this is a citywide issue that the city of Norman, I think, has tried to sweep under the rug, because the last time the cops came to our neighborhood, they're like, oh, we don't usually have these problems here.
This is exactly. He said it yesterday too. He said it last night too. He goes, we usually don't mark hate crimes, and we don't usually do this and this and that.
It doesn't usually happen here. And it's like, it does. It's just like black people feel like they can't say it's happening, because
say what?
Say that racism is happening, because it's like it just gets ignored. Like, it got ignored for us before this moment. And the only reason I think it's not being ignored this time is because we have it on camera.
Right.
And we will splice that video in for y'all so you can see what actually
happened. There's about 150 homes back here or more?
Yeah. Sure.
So, and how many black families you would say? At least 9 or 10, maybe?
Maybe.
So 150 homes, and maybe say 10 to be generous.
Say 5. I'm thinking.
I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna even add the adopted children.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say 10.
Because you have to, because those kids are also getting this treatment.
All right, so it's 10 out of 150 homes. Let's make it an easier number.
Right.
Let's say 100 homes back here.
So like 1%.
It's only 10%.
10%
of blacks in this neighborhood, and people are actively trying to let us know we don't belong all the time. I've gotten followed, like Ahmaud Arbery in this neighborhood, just exercising. Guy would follow me down the street, filming me, and he followed me for half a block before I realized what he was doing.
But they're also our neighbors' friends.
They're and they're friends with the neighbors.
They showed up at the last incident to pick up their child, apparently.
So now I gotta walk around strapped up just to get exercise in my own neighborhood. My wife has to carry bear spray just so she can get some exercise for these people bothering us.
Right. So, that happened. But I wanted to talk about, like, some of the next steps we're taking, because I feel like this does get ignored, and people do need, okay, well, what can we do to stop it? Because that's been my question this whole time. Like, what can I do other than wait for one of my kids to get hurt, or wait for my husband to get hurt, or wait for my window to get broken? Like, what can I do to make this stop? Sorry.
Your phone sucks.
It does. My phone is on another level of slow. So, the officer last night suggested that we file harassment charges, since we do have this on video now, and I also do have 4 years of documentation that can go with it. So file harassment charges with the county court clerk, and also get a protective order. And then also, another sergeant called him this morning and said we also need to meet with the city attorney to try to get that mediated meeting going again.
Yeah, ain't happening.
But they have to agree to that. So
don't no racist person want to sit in front of the police and admit they're racist. They're not going to do that.
Well, they're not going to admit that they're harassing black people. They're just not going to. So, but that looks bad on them. Basically, is what he's saying is, like, when you do file all these charges against them, it looks bad on them for them to refuse to sit down and have a meeting with you.
Right.
So that's just another strike against them, basically. So those are our next steps.
It took 4 years for these people to believe us.
And they only believe us because we got it on video. Let's just
please
be honest.
Get on Amazon and get you a decent price security camera and hang them immediately. And they're like rings. They go right, like they every time somebody walks in the area of that camera, it pops on, and it records, and it goes straight to your phone. You can talk through it. If somebody's standing on your porch and you don't have time to get to the deal, pick up your phone.
Or if you're not home, you
or
can
if you're not
talk
home,
to them. Yeah.
like, oh, I'm in the shower. Is there anything I can help you with? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they can talk to you just like that.
Like, we were down at the pool in our neighborhood, and the pizza guy came here, and we were able to be like, hey, we're down at the pool. Can you come down here? So it allows you to do these things, like catch people in the act.
Right.
And that was our biggest issue, is us and the other family this keeps happening to, is all we had was police reports, which that to me should be enough. But all we had was police reports saying, well, this happened on this date. And they just want us to keep building this file against them, basically. But until you have hard video evidence of it happening, there's nothing you can do. Or unless they write you a note with, actual slurs on it, you can't do anything,
Right.
So.
And he was kind of hesitant to tell me if it was a hate crime or not.
He didn't know. Like, he seriously was like, I have to look that up.
They don't ever look stuff up like that.
Right. So
you got to kind of be vigilant for yourself.
You have to bring awareness even to the cops that, hey, this is happening. And if you want to try to deny it's happening, we're not going to let you.
Right.
That's basically what we had to do last night.
Yep.
So those are our next steps. If y'all are having these issues, feel free to reach out to us. I don't know if we can add it to our case or just help y'all out with yours. If you're in Norman and this is happening, like, let us know.
Please speak up.
Yeah.
Your deputy chief, I believe, is a black man. So let's hope he understands.
Yes. And he's from Oklahoma City. We found that out last time.
Last time I sat down with him, I found out he's from the same hood I'm from.
So hopefully they're at least trying to take steps to bring awareness to this and hopefully do something to keep it from happening in the future. Also, we did, like I said in our last video, we talked to the mayor and the new chief diversity officer, I believe is what she's called, something like that. So that's another avenue that is opening up in Norman in the future, is that position. So
we'll see if it works. They kind of played us off yesterday or the day before yesterday, but hey,
we'll see. So yeah.
Is that it?
I think
You
that's
gonna put the video at the end so they can see it?
I can slice it into when we're talking about it.
Okay, you have to know too to block them babies' faces out.
I think they're blurred anyway. Like our camera isn't great. Like it's okay, but it blurs things anyway. Like so I don't think you can actually see the kids' faces, but I'll check just to make sure. And I had to record it from like my husband's phone from my it's a mess. But it's there. So yeah.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
Hey, you guys, get a black friend.
Bye guys.
Underwear.